humor that had colored their initial response. The humans knew better than to underestimate a potential threat. They scanned the Empire's ships meticulously, gathering data on their capabilities and weaponry. The Empire's fleet, now fully within range, responded as expected by attempting to display its dominance with a calculated precision that likely impressed their own ranks. The Empire unleashed a barrage of energy weapons. Brilliant beams of light and volleys of missiles hurtled toward the human ships, each strike intended to intimidate and overwhelm. To the Empire's commanders, it was a display of sheer power, designed to shock the enemy into submission. But as the weapons impacted, the human shields held firm. The advanced energy fields absorbed and dispersed the attacks effortlessly, barely registering the assault on the human ships. Engineers and scientists immediately began to dissect the incoming data. The analysis was swift, and the results were almost laughable. The weapons the Empire was using, while flashy and powerful by their standards, were based on principles that humanity had long since surpassed. The energy beams, though visually impressive, lacked the intensity to penetrate modern shields. The missiles, which the Empire had likely designed with great care, were easy to track and even easier to neutralize with countermeasures. As the data poured in, the mood among the human crew shifted from focus and determination to incredulous amusement. The more they learned about the Empire's technology, the more they realized just how outmatched the invaders were. Engineers shared findings with pilots, who couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. The Galactic Empire, with all its bluster and bravado, was wielding tools that humanity had relegated to the history books centuries ago. With the realization came a shift in strategy. The human pilots, now fully aware of their technological superiority, decided to play along. They initiated mock engagements, feigning vulnerability to see how the Empire would react. The human ships danced around the Empire's fleet, executing complex maneuvers that left the invaders bewildered. They allowed the Empire to fire at them, only to evade or deflect the attacks with ease, like a cat toying with a mouse. The Empire's ships attempted to counter these moves, but their responses were sluggish, their tactics outdated. Every attempt the Empire made was met with a swift, almost playful rebuttal from the humans. The pilots exchanged witty banter over the comms, laughing as they performed barrel rolls and loops that left the Empire's targeting system scrambling. It wasn't just a battle anymore. It was a game, and the humans were clearly having fun with it. As the engagement continued, the human commanders made a decision. Recognizing the comedic potential of the situation, they authorized a live broadcast of their pilots' communications directly to the Galactic Empire's flagship. The broadcasts were filled with laughter, lighthearted jests, and playful taunts. Pilots made bets on who could dodge the most shots or execute the most ridiculous maneuvers. One even jokingly offered to come aboard the Empire's ship to give a lesson on modern warfare tactics. Back on the Empire's command deck, the reaction was one of utter confusion and growing frustration. The Supreme Commander and his officers listened in disbelief as the humans not only withstood their best efforts but mocked them openly. They couldn't understand why the humans weren't taking the battle seriously or why their supposedly fearsome fleet was being treated like a joke. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. They were the Galactic Empire, the mightiest force in the galaxy, and yet here they were, being laughed at by a species they had deemed primitive. The more they listened, the more their frustration grew. They doubled down on their efforts, pushing their ships to their limits, but it was all in vain. The humans were simply too far ahead, too advanced, and far too amused by the whole affair to be threatened. In the end, the Empire's leaders found themselves grappling with an unfamiliar and uncomfortable reality. They were completely outmatched, not just in terms of firepower, but in understanding the nature of their opponent. The humans weren't just technologically superior. They were also unflinchingly confident, wielding their humor as effectively as any weapon, leaving the once feared Galactic Empire bewildered and powerless in the face of their own obsolescence. The Galactic Empire, now fully aware that their initial strike had failed spectacularly, decided that the situation called for more drastic measures. Their commanders, humiliated by the humans' nonchalant dismissal of their might, believed they had no choice but to escalate the conflict. In a move born of both desperation and arrogance, the Empire deployed what they considered their ultimate weapon, a massive, imposing device they believed would finally bring the humans to their knees. This weapon, which the Empire had developed over years of secretive research, was the culmination of their technological prowess. They had designed it to be a planet-destroying force, something that would inspire fear across the galaxy and ensure the submission of any who dared oppose them. As the colossal weapon powered up, the Empire's commanders watched with anticipation, convinced that this would be the turning point in their favor. However, as soon as the humans detected the weapon's activation, their response was immediate and calculated. They observed the energy buildup, analyzed the weapon's design, and quickly deduced its intended purpose. To the human scientists and military strategists, the weapon was a fascinating relic, an artifact of a bygone era. Impressive in its ambition, but deeply flawed in its execution. Without breaking a sweat, the human fleet initiated a countermeasure that neutralized the Empire's weapon before it could even fire. The process was almost anticlimactic. A simple disruption of the weapon's energy matrix caused it to shut down, rendering it completely inert. The Empire's most feared creation, the pinnacle of their technological advancements, was effectively disarmed with minimal effort. The human pilots, who had been eagerly awaiting this supposed superweapon, couldn't help but laugh at the outcome. One pilot quipped that they had seen better light shows at their local planetarium. The broadcast of the human fleet's reactions, still being transmitted directly to the Empire's flagship, now captured a new wave of laughter, this time tinged with a sense of finality. The game was over. The Galactic Empire, despite all its posturing, had nothing left to threaten humanity with. Realizing the hopelessness of their situation, the Supreme Commander of the Galactic Empire faced a difficult decision. The humiliation was complete. They had underestimated the humans at every turn, relying on their outdated technology and inflated sense of superiority. Now, with their ultimate weapon neutralized and their fleet effectively toyed with, there was no option left but to retreat. The Supreme Commander ordered a full withdrawal, a command that was met with stunned silence among the Empire's ranks. The fleet, once so full of bravado, now limped away from Earth, their confidence shattered. The humans, ever gracious in victory, didn't pursue. They had no desire to crush the Empire or exact vengeance. The encounter had been more a lesson than a battle, a lesson in the dangers of hubris and the importance of understanding one's own limitations. As the Galactic Empire retreated, the humans sent one final message. It was a simple, good-natured farewell, with a suggestion to the Empire. Perhaps it was time to embrace progress and learn from others, rather than relying on outdated notions of power and conquest. The message ended with a promise of peaceful relations, if the Empire ever chose to seek them out. Back on Earth, the story of the Great Galactic Invasion quickly became a favorite topic of conversation. It was a tale of humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and most of all, their ability to find humor, even in the most unexpected circumstances. The Galactic Empire, meanwhile, returned to their distant corner of the galaxy, their confidence bruised but with much to ponder. The encounter with humanity had shown them that the universe was far more complex and advanced than they had ever imagined.